It is Monday, February 9, 2026. And I was looking at the calendar this morning, and it just hit me. We are staring down the barrel of one of the biggest, one of the most significant digital deadlines in telecommunications history.
It really is. If you're in Mexico right now, or even just have a Mexican SIM card, there's this massive clock ticking.
We're talking about June 30, 2026.
That's the date. Less than 5 months away. And honestly, significant might be an understatement. We're looking at a mandate where every single cell phone user in Mexico, that's what, around 140 million lines, has to register their identity with the government.
And not just their name, their biometrics.
It's biometrics. And the consequences, it's absolute.
Yeah, it's not a fine, it's not a warning. If you don't register, you're just disconnected.
Yeah.
Game over.
Exactly. The network just shuts you out completely.
Now, I've been digging into the numbers on this because the scale is just so hard to wrap your head around. We're not just talking about people with, their monthly contracts. We're talking about the huge prepaid market, right? The recargas you buy at the corner store. That's something like 80% of the entire mobile market in Mexico.
It is. And that's where the real friction is. The government is trying to capture data on somewhere between 127 and 142 million active lines. So that's, everyone from a grandmother in Oaxaca to a businessman in Monterrey and even expats. It's a logistical nightmare.
But looking at the sources we have for this deep dive, the legal texts, the tech reports from places like Ondado and Did It, and analysis from rights groups like R3D, it's pretty clear this isn't just about logistics.
No, it's a collision, a massive collision of biometric surveillance, national security, and, a really deep historical lack of trust.
That's the core of it, isn't it? On one side, you have the government saying, look, we need this to stop extortion and kidnapping.
And on the other, you have a huge part of the population saying, you are building a digital prison that is absolutely going to get hacked.
So let's get into the reality of it.
Yeah.
Because this law, it isn't coming soon. It's actually already here. The obligation to register started last month on January 9th.
That's right. We're kind of in the grace period right now. The law is active, but the real hammer, the disconnection, doesn't fall until July 1st.
Okay, so let's be specific about disconnection. Say I don't register, July 1st comes around. What actually happens to my phone? Does it just become a brick?
A brick that can only dial 3 numbers.
Yeah.
They won't technically cancel your line right away, but they will suspend all service. So no outgoing calls, no texts, and definitely no data.
No WhatsApp, no Google Maps, nothing.
Nothing. But you can still call 911.
Okay, so emergency services still work?
Yes. 911-08089, and you can get official government alerts. That is it. For everything else, you are basically cut off from the modern world.
And to avoid that, you've got to go through this whole process. You need your government ID, your CRP code if you're a resident, but the really controversial part is the proof of life.
The biometrics, that's the real sticking point for everyone.
I was reading the tech docs on this, and it's just wild how far this technology has come. It's not just take a selfie. We're talking about something called liveness detection.
And this is so crucial to understand because the whole threat landscape has just changed completely with generative AI.
Right.
You can't just ask for a photo anymore because I could generate a perfect image of someone who doesn't exist or deepfake my face onto an ID in real time.
Yeah, I saw a stat that sophisticated fraud using deepfakes is up, 180%? Yeah. So this system has to prove that I am a living, breathing human being right here, right now.
Correct. And that's an arms race. A few years ago, we used active liveness. The app would say, okay, turn your head or blink.
I remember those. Smile for the camera.
Exactly. And if the image moved, the system figured, okay, it's human. But AI can do that now. A deepfake can smile on command.
Sure.
So the new standard is passive liveness. And this is where it gets kind of sci-fi. The AI isn't just looking at your face, it's analyzing the physics of light on your skin.
So micro-reflections, right?
Yes. Human skin scatters light in a very specific way. It goes just under the surface and bounces around. A computer screen or a printed photo or a mask, they reflect light differently.
So the AI can tell the difference between my actual skin and a picture of my skin on an iPhone.
At a pixel level, it's doing a forensic analysis of your face in seconds. And it's also analyzing the ID stand-checking fonts for Photoshop, cross-referencing the machine-readable code. It's a fortress.
Okay, so on paper, the tech sounds incredibly secure. But here's the problem. Nobody is buying it. The compliance numbers are. I was shocked. Fewer than 3% of lines have been registered.
It's an abysmal number. It just screams a total lack of confidence.
And you can't really blame them, can you? I mean, we have to talk about RENA.
Yes. not the ghost that haunts this entire process.
You really can't understand this 2026 deadline without looking back at what happened in 2008.
Right. So for anyone who doesn't know, Mexico tried this exact same thing between 2008 and 2011. Same goal, stop extortion. They built this huge registry.
And it's a complete catastrophe.
Yeah. Worse, it became a weapon. The database wasn't just hacked. It was leaked and sold on the black market. You could go to a market stall in Tepito and buy the personal data and phone numbers of millions of Mexicans.
No, how much?
About $500.
$500 for the entire country's phone directory. That is insane.
And here's the kicker. Kidnappings and extortion actually went up during that time because now the criminals had a verified phone book. They knew exactly who they were threatening.
So when the government comes along now and says, trust us, this time it's different, the country just has this collective memory of Renat.
And it's not even ancient history. We've seen recent hacks of the military servers, public hospital data, even the president's own medical records. The idea that this new registry will become a goldmine for cartels it's not paranoia, it's based on precedent.
Okay, but what about the government's argument? They say without this, they're fighting blind against criminals using burner phones. The logic is, remove the anonymity, remove the shield.
It's a flawed logic, though. Sophisticated criminals will just adapt. They'll move to encrypted apps over Wi-Fi, they'll use satellite phones, or, and this is the big one, they'll just use foreign SIM cards.
Right, the tourist loophole. I want to get to that.
It's a giant hole in the whole system. The law only applies to Mexican lines. If you're using a U.S. phone roaming in Mexico, you're not in the registry.
And I saw that eSIMs, like from Airlo or Holafly, are exempt too, because you're technically roaming.
Exactly. So you end up creating this two-tier system where wealthy people and, well-funded criminals can afford to stay anonymous using international text.
While the average person who just uses a local prepaid plan for their job is the one who gets put under the microscope.
It effectively criminalizes privacy for the poor while leaving a huge backdoor for everyone else. That's a very sharp way to put it.
But this isn't even happening in a vacuum. This is where it gets darker. This phone registry is part of a bigger legislative package, the Intelligence Act, from July 2025.
This is the part that keeps privacy advocates awake at night. The phone registry is just one piece of something the law calls the Central Platform of Intelligence.
I mean, the name alone sounds like something out of a spy novel.
It's basically a data convergence engine. The law forces the interconnection of all public and private databases. So you're linking the phone registry, your face, your location with your car records, your bank records, tax data, health records.
So in practice, law enforcement could see your face, your car, where you drove yesterday, what you bought, and your medical history, all on one screen.
All in real time. And the most critical change is that the new law removes the need for a warrant, in many cases, for the National Guard to access all that metadata and geolocation.
So the military can access this complete life profile of a citizen without a judge signing off.
That is exactly what groups like R3D are screaming about. They call it an uncontrolled system of surveillance. And when you combine that with a mandatory biometric phone registry, you've built the perfect tool for authoritarian control.
The panopticon. And Mexico has been here before legally, too. The Supreme Court struck down a similar law, Penarpod, back in 22. They said it was unconstitutional, so why try again?
The Constitution didn't change, but the court did. The political landscape is different. The current Supreme Court is seen as much more aligned with the executive branch.
So that judicial firewall that worked before might not hold up this time.
That's the fear. There are thousands of legal challenges and amparos being filed right now, but experts are much less optimistic than they were a few years ago.
Which brings us back to the person on the ground. You have this massive system, a June 30th deadline, and almost no one complying. If you're listening in Mexico City right now, what do?
First, watch out for scams. You're going to get texts saying, click here to register or lose your line. Do not click that link.
Phishing 101.
Absolutely. Go to the official carrier website or a service center. But the bigger question is, do you comply at all?
That's the dilemma, isn't it? Register, and you hand your biometrics to a government with a history of leaks. Don't, and you lose your connection to the world.
And that leads us to the end game, what I'm calling the game of chicken.
This is what I've been thinking about. It's July 1st. Let's say 80% of the country is still unregistered. Does the government really push the button?
Can you imagine the consequences? You disconnect 100 million lines, the economy crashes, two-factor authentication for your bank stops working, Uber drivers go offline, small businesses can't function.
It would be immediate, total chaos.
Self-inflicted national crisis. So does the government blink? Do they extend the deadline? Or do they start cutting people off just to make an example of them?
It feels like a massive bluff.
Yeah.
The government is betting the threat will force compliance. The people are betting the government can't afford to actually follow through.
And right now, the people are winning that staring contest. But as we get closer to June, that pressure is going to ramp up.
It really is an incredible, if a little disturbing, case study. Because this isn't just about Mexico. It's the ultimate test of that trade-off between privacy and the promise of security.
And right now, the answer from the Mexican people seems to be a resounding, we don't trust the trade.
We will have to see who blinks first. It is going to be a wild few months to watch.
Absolutely.
That's our deep dive for today. If you are in Mexico, stay safe. Double check those URLs, and we will be watching this one very, very closely. Catch you on the next one.